Hey, this is Bruce Boudreau, and you're listening to Empty Betters with Nick, Mack, and Harrison.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 161 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Schulz. I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What is going on, my friend?
A lot, boys. We are loving life right now. We are on the tail end of St. Patty's weekend, which, you might think I'd be suffering from a hangover, but I'm not. I did get some drinks in me, but I also got a huge Spartan victory in me. So that's all that matters right now. And I really think you should throw it off to the other co-host on the show right now.
Throw it up to Marquette Nation, or lack thereof, rather. Mac Vogel. He's drinking. In case nobody's like, if you're new here, Nick is a huge Spartans fan and Mac is a Marquette alum and diehard fan, and you all know how that went over the weekend. Mac, how you doing?
Sorry, just had to get a little beer in me there just to kind of cope with the pain. Yeah. Okay, you won.
All right. Real quick, though,
congratulations.
what a sick basketball game.
No, it was a good game. I saw, interestingly enough, I saw a tweet I saw a lot of tweets that I disagreed with. One that I agreed with was from none other than Dave Portnoy, who said something along the lines, I'm not going to quote it directly, but it was something along the lines of like, Marquette wins that basketball game 8 times out of 10. Worst performance for Tyler Kolek that he could have possibly had, which is all true. Now, I think some credit obviously has to go to coach for figuring out the team. It's not like Tyler Kolek just accidentally had the worst game of his career so far. You know what I mean? Like,
no, they took him out of the game.
Yeah, they did a really good job of like coming after him and making him not an issue, which is something no one's been able to do so far this year. So, that it's two really good coaches against each other, which I think is why it was a really fun game. But yeah, it sucks that it turned out the way it did. Something I said to Nick earlier before we started recording was something that the three of us often say about the NHL, which is that matchup to me felt like it could have been like the championship of that side of the bracket at least.
Yes.
Where it's like, we always say in the NHL, it's like, shit, the Leafs and the Lightning play in the first round. That should have been, if the seeding was different, that should have been the Eastern Conference final or whatever.
Yes.
And I think like you said, that would have been a great Elite Eight matchup. It's a shame that Sparty and the Golden Eagles somebody had to be out in the round of 32, because they definitely are both good enough, deserve to be a little further on in the tournament. But it's the way the cookie crumbles. Excellent season for Marquette. It was a ton of fun watching them. And we'll be back. So,
also want to give a shout out to Garrett and Corey. They were obviously on the last episode, did the March Madness preview. That one got a lot of listens, so appreciate both of them.
They did. And real quick, I bumped into a couple of Corey's cousins actually when I was doing the Canton Fed Hill St. Patty's thing in Baltimore over the weekend. Shout out to Mitch and Greg. They loved the episode. They were like, yeah, you guys have a great show. Keep doing what you're doing. And then I bumped into your buddy, Tim Gloss as well. So it was good to see him.
Yeah, he was he's on my beer league team. He came in the locker room. He's like, I saw your boy. And I was like, Nick. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, he was wearing his EB hat. Dude, that thing looks like it's been.
I was gonna say, I feel like we should send him like a new one. Like,
yeah,
it's seen better days. Grit. Like,
yeah, that thing's got some grit on it. But obviously appreciate all the listeners. Always fun seeing them out in public. And then Garrett and Corey gave us their final four. They're both 3 for 4 at the moment. Obviously, Garrett had Marquette. That didn't happen. Corey had Duke. They're out, right? I'm pretty sure last I checked that didn't happen either. So they still got 3 in there. Should be interesting. They both have Alabama in the championship, so we'll see how that unfolds. All right. Let's before I get to the question of the day, I want to announce Rick Rowley, part 3, the Rick Rowley experience. He came onto the podcast just moments ago. Probably a good 45-minute chat with him about Leafs, playoff pictures, his trip to Orlando for Disney World, which you'll definitely want to hear about. And, Rick's always a fun guy to talk to. We love having him on the show. That will be in the middle of the episode, but we'll get started with some hockey news. But before we do, I think Mac has a question of the day.
Yeah, so I'm just curious, like which fruit would obviously make the best house to live in?
Oh my God.
This isn't real. This is not real.
And you can't say pineapple just because SpongeBob. Like we're not doing
Okay,
that.
because that's
We're
what
not
I was
doing
gonna
that.
say. God damn it.
Fuck?
Which
I feel-
fruit makes the best house to live in?
Yeah, like practically from a practicality standpoint.
Jesus.
I feel bad. I wanted to change the QOTD before we started recording.
Like think about it from like the fruit is large. Like it's not like you're shrunk. The fruit is big enough to be your house, but it
is
has
a coconut
a
a fruit?
I think it is.
I'm going coconut.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. Fuck.
That's a good one.
It's hard. It'll hopefully not break when shit falls on it or like the wind blows. I don't know.
It'll hydrate you.
There you go.
You
Yeah.
drink.
Right.
You could drink
You
from
could
your
eat
house.
my wall. Yeah.
Yeah, what if
Your
it just
wall.
starts rolling away though? Because it is just like it's not.
Well, I'm
like,
thinking what we do is just like slice the bottom off, like you would do in like a hermit crab terrarium. So that way it's
so
just
it's
like
like
a little
Patrick's house.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Well. All right. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Harry, what are we thinking here?
Is a pumpkin a fruit?
It's got seeds,
it has
right?
seeds.
Yeah.
I would think maybe a
That
pumpkin.
would be really good. You just
Yeah.
lift off the hat and get in.
Yeah, it's like
just put it on your head.
It could be like a convertible home, like a dome. Like I
There
can
you
choose
go.
whether I want.
Or
a
you've
dome or not.
carved out a door in the bottom and you just like pull it all the way out and get
Yeah.
in and then just pull it back in.
Yeah, I think I'd choose a pumpkin. They seem pretty sturdy too, eh?
Yeah.
That is actually a really good answer. You guys are going big brain here.
I do love me low key. I am a huge sucker for some roasted pumpkin seeds with some Old Bay salt, pepper on them. Oh man.
Well, good thing it's almost fall. Halloween is almost here. So, I really went basic on this one. I just thought an apple would be really good because I was thinking like if you're in a huge apple and you're like picture yourself almost as like a worm, you can kind of like burrow through there. First of all, it's really cozy. You're just like up in that apple, like being surrounded by the fruit itself, I guess. But the cool part here is like I'm picturing you could kind of like carve out some shit on the inside. Like you could kind of hollow out a little area for like your living room. Like you could create rooms inside the apple without ruining the structural integrity of we'll say the epidermis of the apple.
God damn it.
The outer layer of
I know what you're saying.
Apple.
I know what you're saying. So my first thought was apple. Like when you were saying this, I was like, oh, I would just like dig out an apple. I just feel like it would get insanely sticky.
It would also probably get
not that the coconut wouldn't, but like
I mean it's fruit. It's all probably gonna be pretty sticky, but
to enhance this conversation, I just want to make it known that there are 11 very common mistakenly vegetables that are actually fruits. Tomatoes, peppers, beans, pea pods, avocados, squash, zucchini, cucumbers, olives, corn kernels, pumpkins, and nuts.
Hold up. I could live in an olive.
Yeah.
That would honestly be kind of sick.
That'd be very sick. I might start eating my home. It's delicious.
It is delicious. But like if you got like a pitted olive, you would have like a skylight.
Yes. Wow. That's a genius idea.
Right.
Are you changing
like
your
a
answer?
Big green olive. And it's kind of thick. It's got like, if something like crashes into the outside of it.
Like a martini skewer or something.
Right. Like a toothpick or something. It's not necessarily going to ruin the whole thing. It's just going to go straight through.
It's just going to go through.
Yeah. And you're like, okay, I don't love that that's part of my house now, but
I'll final answer, coin flip between a coconut and an olive.
I'm going with the olive instead of the apple.
Okay.
I think it's better.
Right,
I want a skylight.
I'll stick with the coconut then.
All right, cool.
I'll stand by my pumpkin stance.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
I'm glad we really solved the world's issues today.
Yeah,
me too.
That was good.
Solving world hunger and the world housing crisis in one fell swoop.
I started thinking about James and the Giant Peach, and I was thinking about how crazy it is that guy just had like a big fruit he could get into. And yeah, that's kind of
pretty wild.
That one.
It is.
Well, if you want to help solve world hunger and world homelessness as well through fruits, just remember that brainstorm was brought to you by Brackish Life. If you're like us and grew up on the water and outdoors, then Brackish Life is perfect for you. They have a wide selection of gear from UV shirts to hoodies and hats. It's Real Bay apparel made by Real Bay people. Head to www.brackish.life today to check them out. A little salty, a little fresh. Brackish Life. That was fun.
It was. Okay, news time?
Yeah, let's get into the league news now that we've solved world hunger, obviously. Jonathan Toews, he's considering retirement due to long COVID symptoms. The Hawks allegedly told their captain that they are planning to move on from him this summer. It's been rumored that Toews is obviously contemplating retirement as a result. Really sucks to see this from a guy who's, earned all the respect in the world in terms of what he's accomplished in the league. 3-time Stanley Cup winner, captain of the Chicago Blackhawks. Could go on, but I wouldn't blame Johnny one bit if he ended up hanging him up after this season.
No, and Guy was named captain when he was like 20 years old too. I think a lot of people forget that he was one of that first batch of young ones right after Sid got it done and right before Landeskog got it done. But I think he was the youngest for a while in there. But I don't know why. This guy was never one of my favorite players. I actually disliked him for the better part of his playing career. Just thought his playing style was annoying because he would always torment the Caps. But I'm not going to lie. I'd be really upset if he played for another team that wasn't the Blackhawks. I feel like this guy is absolutely someone that should retire a Blackhawk. It just sucks that the end of this amazing career is going this way for him. So you really feel for the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the Chicago Blackhawks as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
You think of the logo and you think Jonathan Toews.
Would love to hear our intern Jackson's thoughts on this sometime in the future too.
Yeah, we'll get him on a future recording. He's been extremely busy with the basketball season going on. Also, shout out to him. I know we tweeted the link for his Marquette radio announcing. He was phenomenal. So Jay, if you're listening, really good job.
Big things ahead for that kid, that's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just amazing when you look at someone that's younger than you, that's just so much more talented in every aspect of life, isn't it, fellas?
It was funny when we went to Max Beer League and he introed us to do the funny skit as if it was a pregame show, and he started and I was just like, oh shit, that was real. I think I need to kind of take this seriously for a second.
Yeah, we were really good. Crap, we might want to try.
yeah, it was funny. All right, moving on. Sidney Crosby has registered his 18th point per game season of his career. Only Wayne Gretzky now has more at 19. Not gonna make the playoffs, so nobody cares. Who cares? I don't care.
So really confirmed, not making the playoffs.
Not making the playoffs. If I had to, I was actually contemplating betting the Avs tonight to try to jinx them into it, but I don't think that would work. If they lose tonight, I'll do it for the Stars tomorrow, but we'll see. Yeah. Draft lottery. That'll be on May 8th. The draft will be on June 28th and 29th. So on May 8th, we will figure out if Connor Bedard ruins the Metro Division and becomes a Columbus Blue Jacket for the rest of time, or if he's going to go out west for Nick's San Jose Sharks. We'll see what happens.
Sick. I just want it for the jersey alone at this point, boys.
Yeah.
I would honestly, if he went to the Sharks, I would consider buying a real one too.
Oh, a Fanatics jersey?
Yeah.
Oh,
which we'll get to, and I have many things to say about, but
I think we're gonna have plenty of clips from the discussion segment of that. We'll get there in about 5-10 minutes. Give us a second. Connor McDavid, the first player since 1995 and 1996 when Yager and Lemieux did this to reach 130 points in a single season. He is 14 points away currently from hitting 150 points. Should he do that, he will be only the 5th player ever to get 150 points in a season.
That's insane.
Weekly segment.
Yeah.
We do it all. I feel like we do this every week.
Yeah, we do.
Dude, it's literally
old.
It's like the Connor and Ovi show. It's like, what milestones did they hit this week? And I know we're gonna get to the other two in a little bit, but it's literally like, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Ovi, I mean, you just alluded to it.
Yeah.
He's made NHL history. He became the first player to ever put up 13 seasons with 40 or more goals. Pretty damn impressive.
It's just, at this point, you got to rename the trophy, right?
They really should.
The Rocket Richard.
Only 2 guys have won the Rocket Richard more than 6 times, and Ovi's got 9 of them.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I would definitely say that if they need to rename it, or they should have a trophy named after him of some sort. I don't know what it is, but maybe they have like a power play goal one if they don't want to rename this for some stupid reason. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, it would cause massive problems if they tried to rename this thing, but
yeah. Oh, I could see a lot of upset on that, but
yeah.
All right, the Arizona Coyotes. This one's pretty cool. They signed Josh Doan to a 3-year entry-level contract. He's the son of Shane Doan, coming full circle, as Shane Doan was the captain for the Coyotes, and then his son played at Arizona State, so he's currently going to stay at the same arena that he's been playing at for the last couple of seasons. So.
Is Shane involved with the Yotes at all?
I think like
yeah, he's in development.
Heavily involved would be a good way to put it.
That's what I thought. I couldn't remember like what his position was, but I was pretty sure he's like works for the team.
I think he's in player development or something like that.
From what I understand it, or at least from what I've seen, I don't know exactly the extent of his involvement, but he seems very involved with that ASU team as well.
That's cool.
So yeah, a pretty cool moment for the Coyotes there. Jonathan Drouin. Oh, sorry.
Put Doan in the Hall, right?
Yeah, I would say
Shane,
so.
Yeah.
Shane Doan?
Yeah.
No? I don't know, man. Well, I mean, he never really he's a good I love this debate. What is a Hall of Famer? Like,
right.
He never won.
The dude went to the conference finals once.
He never won a cup.
Yeah.
He's never won an individual award. I mean, he never put up like, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think he ever got a 40-goal season. I'm not saying he was a bad player by any means, but there's always that argument that I see now.
He'd play over 1,500 NHL games.
Yeah.
No, I get that, but like, I don't know. What do you got? You guys seem like there's no doubt.
I say yes.
1,540 NHL games, 972 points. Almost as many penalty minutes as games in the NHL.
How many? Do you have his season by season up?
Mm-hmm.
What's the most amount of goals he got in a season? I'd be curious to hear that.
Take a guess. Let's see how close you are. Oh my God. Oh, wait, that's not the NHL. Okay, here we go.
I'm going to say his high was, I feel like maybe like 37.
I'm going to go 40. I feel like he got to 40 at least once.
So he, with the Yotes in 08-09, he played every game, 82 games. He had 31 goals. That was his most goals in one season.
Wow.
But he did have 42 assists that year as well. His most points in one season in the NHL was the year before that, 28 goals, 50 assists for 78 points.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't know. Great player, but I'm a little
Hall of very good for you.
Hall of very good. Hall of very good.
I can live with
it's a toss up for sure, but it is an interesting debate because it's like he was so consistently
multiple gold medals though, right?
Like yeah.
Bro, my nuts have gold medals with Canada.
He's got
so true.
Let's see. Yeah, that's true.
Especially back then. I mean,
he got one in the World Cup of Hockey in 2004.
Okay.
And then I think Olympics.
I don't know.
He had to be 2006, right?
Yeah.
But they didn't win gold that year. That was Sweden.
Yeah, they didn't. They didn't win that year.
That was Lundqvist's year.
They did bad that year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they like not even medal that year?
Seventh. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Never mind. What was I talking about? Hall of Fame? No, I'm kidding.
That's a great question. Is Shane Doan a Hall of Famer? Would love to hear some feedback on that one.
He did play playoff stats, 55 playoff games in the NHL, 28 points across those games, 85 penalty minutes.
55 playoff games with the Arizona Coyotes.
Yeah. Yep. I mean,
wow.
Don't forget though, the Jets.
I know he was there for a little bit with the Jets, right?
But that's only accounts for 1 year. 95, 96 was the only year that he played Winnipeg Jets playoff hockey.
Okay.
And that was only 6 games. So, I mean,
wow.
Half of that 50 whatever number you just said was that
conference final run. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I embrace debate. I love that one. That's good stuff. Jonathan Drouin, who has 1 goal and 26 points in 46 games this season, was benched for the entire game on Saturday after his coach revealed he missed a team meeting, calling his behavior non-negotiable. Marty St. Louis does not fuck around. I know that.
No, apparently he was 2 minutes late and I think he was like the first player ever to be on the bench, but basically just not touch the ice for the entirety of the game.
Marty sending a message. I mean, Habs aren't in playoff position. He hasn't been having a great year, so we know how that's going to go. But
no, it's just it begs the question, like, what the heck is going on with this guy? I know there's been some off-ice issues. I know there's been some personal issues, but this guy was drafted 3rd overall after Nathan McKinnon and Seth Jones in, what was that, 2013?
Yes, sir.
He outpaced McKinnon in points in junior. Like, I mean, this is just, you feel bad for the guy.
If it wasn't going to work in Tampa, I feel like it wasn't going to work anywhere.
And that Sergachev trade looks better every day, doesn't it?
Oh, I forgot that's who it was for. Wow.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow. What a steal. Connor Bedard, again, weekly segment. He scored 70 goals in the WHL, becoming the 3rd 17-year-old ever to do so. I saw something on Instagram, and I'm going to butcher this, but it was like most goals by a player in their draft eligible year or something. And he had more than like McDavid, Crosby, Tavares, like everybody, like the whole fucking like A squad gang that you would think of.
Yeah. And I feel like it's because most of that like repertoire that you're thinking of, like the McDavid, Tavares, whoever else, they did it the year that they were drafted, if not the year they were drafted afterwards. And that's why Bedard is so far ahead, but it just says how good this kid is.
I mean, they're already saying, like, there's comments on, like, Twitter and YouTube, like, how long until he's better than Connor McDavid? I'm like, he hasn't even been drafted. We don't even know the lottery.
Right.
Yet. Like, like, chill the kid out. Did you see the shit where his mom was, like, people were, like, stalking their house?
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, I think I sent that to you guys in our group chat, but like, it's sad that like people are that crazy about literally a child. Like technically he is still a child. Like just let him be a kid.
He hasn't even been able to drive for 12 months.
No. Like the guy can't legally buy beer in Canada. Spoiler alert, people are buying beer for him, but like he can't buy beer in Canada at this point.
He can't buy a lipper skipper down in the States.
He can't. No, not at all.
He's literally a child.
Yeah.
Wow, Nick, you just exploded my brain.
It's like, I mean, it's just, it goes down to the whole, like we've talked about, like the way that like the Canadian media is with pressure, but just like pressure on, up and coming teens in sports in general. We deal with this in the States when it comes to, kids coming out of college playing basketball. It's just like, they're young, so just let them live their lives. I don't know why you have to stalk them and try and climb into their backyard or some of the shit that his mom was saying, but it's just crazy.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Morgan Miller, if you're listening, you're going to love this one. Jonathan Quick has moved into 2nd place all-time wins list for American-born goalie with 375 wins. Quick only needs 16 more wins to pass Ryan Miller, who currently holds the record. I do think it's worth mentioning he has been very, very, very good since the trade, and the Vegas Golden Knights are very, very, very hot right now.
It's also crazy that Quick will only pass that record if he does not decide to hang him up at the end.
Correct.
That's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, what do you guys think? You think he will?
I think he'll do one more year.
Yeah, probably. If anything, just out of spite. Like,
yeah.
Now at this point.
I think it's worth mentioning in his last 5 games, he's 4-1, which is good. He has a average save percentage of 931, which is insane. And he has a shutout in that span, and he's the hottest goalie in the league in his last 5 starts. So yeah, Vegas is
he's damn good too. Like if he goes down in history as the greatest American or the winningest American goalie of all time, I have no problems with that.
Do you think he's the greatest American goalie of all time if he breaks it?
I don't know if he's the greatest in terms of like talent, but might have the most.
Yeah,
show.
I'd have to agree with Mac.
Who do you think the most talented would be?
Could be Ryan Miller. Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that. Was Richter American?
He was.
Yeah.
He's got to be up.
Yeah, and everyone always says Mike Richter, and sorry, every Rangers fan always says Mike Richter, but let's look at sample size, and Richter didn't play that long.
How long I can't even really remember. Yeah, this list
now
right here.
I will say this: when he was on his game, like when the Rangers were winning that cup or whatever that was, there was no one better. Like one-on-one, he stopped Pavel Bure on that penalty shot in the Stanley Cup final. Doesn't get much better than that. So,
yeah, do agree with that. All right, let's move on to the discussion portion here. We chatted a little bit about Calgary Flames with Rick, but we'll tackle it here. Nick, I know you want to talk about the Flames here real quick.
Yeah, just to kick off our discussion segment for this week, I want to talk about the Calgary Flames. So, boys, I'm just going to run through some numbers here for you. So, the Calgary Flames this season have 41 games decided by 1 goal. That is the most in the National Hockey League. They have 26 losses in 1-goal games. That's the most in the National Hockey League. They have 15 overtime or shootout losses. That's the most in the National Hockey League.
Tied for the most with the Sharks.
Tied for the most. Thank you. They have 77 posts hit. That's the most in the NHL. They have 0 third period comeback wins. That's the fewest in the NHL. And then they have, ready for this, this is the kicker, 21 losses when outshooting their opponents by 10 or more, which is the most in NHL history. So before they recover from all this, they're probably going to need some help from our friends at Kane Footwear, because Kane makes the Kane Revive, which is made with bounce back foam made from sugar cane. It's good for you. It's good for the environment. Head to the link in our bio to check out the most comfortable pair of shoes you will ever own today. My question to you guys is, what in the hell is going on with this hockey team? This was a team that made these big moves in the offseason, and I know we talked about this with Rick, but like, oh my goodness, I think we had a little bit bigger expectations for them this season. I think going into the season, we had them winning the division at one point. At least one of us did.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Pacific, like Seattle kind of came out of nowhere. LA's playing a lot better than I think everybody thought. You kind of think Calgary, Edmonton go hand in hand, and that's just not been the case this season. One guy whose name I literally haven't heard all year, Nazem Kadri, the big free agent guy that they got. They get the Hubie Kachuk swap, but then when they lose Johnny G, they bring in the grit with Kadri. Haven't really heard his name too much. Markstrom has struggled most of the year. He's played better as of late, but hasn't really been there all year. I don't know. Something's off, and I feel like I've been seeing a bunch of shit on Twitter about Sutter maybe getting the shit can after this season.
I think it's time. I think, kind of like how it was time for Babcock in Detroit. It's just time to move on here.
Also, a weird bet that I've been seeing a lot of people take the goalie over saves total when they play the Calgary Flames, because they shoot the puck, like you just mentioned, a fuck ton. So you get the Ducks versus the Flames, you hammer John Gibson over 29.5 saves or whatever.
Yep.
Little tidbit there.
I just the couple impressions I've gotten from this team whenever I watch their games, whenever I'm up late, is they just can't finish.
Yeah.
It's all build up, and it's no, climax, for lack of a better term, but I don't know. They got to figure something out for next year.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I would think we see something different behind the bench.
What were your thoughts on the JJ Watt hockey being expensive comments? I saw that he put something out on Twitter. Harry, did you see this?
Yeah, so for those who aren't on Twitter or don't know, there was a guy who was tweeting at JJ Watt because he's obviously playing beer league now that he's retired. He used to play hockey back in high school. He's from Wisconsin, whatever. This guy tweeted at him and said, "My great uncle coached you and your brother in hockey back in the day. Said you both easily could have gone pro, but your mom thought football was safer." To which JJ replied, "Safer? No. Cheaper? Yes. Biggest barrier to entry for hockey is the expense associated with it. Soccer is the world's most popular sport in large part because all you need is a ball. Hockey equipment is expensive. Kids constantly grow out of sizes. Ice time is scarce, etc. They fixed that. They fixed the sport." I thought that was a phenomenal take. And I know that like we all know this already, but dude, if you play competitive level hockey, you're easily spending at least between team fees, tryouts, travel, equipment. You're probably spending at least $8,000 a year. I'm not like to put it.
Number in my head was 10 grand.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Even now, it's like how crazy expensive it is to be good at travel hockey, where you need to have it's like, it's not optional. Like you need
a power skating coach,
coach, skills coach, stick handling coach,
like one-on-one, like coach ice time. Yeah.
Like you can still make it if you don't do that, but you're going to have to be like Connor Bedard out of the box to make it to do that. I feel like, most of that stuff you're going to have if you want a fighting chance to either go D1 or play in the NHL at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. Like, think of how many good athletes exist that, don't have parents that can afford 10 grand a year that could probably be sick at hockey and, change the sport, but you just can't do that. Like,
or it's 10 grand a year. And then there's the fact that you're probably in middle school, so those size whatever skates you got in 6th grade aren't going to fit in 6 months anyways, and those pads aren't going to fit in 12 months. And if you're doing well enough, you're probably going to either have to go play at some prep school or at some travel team, and like it just snowballs from there.
Yeah, I feel like the equipment alone is at least like, assuming you get like, even if you get like top of the line shit, like, dude, you're spending probably 2,500 to $3,000 on.
I mean, what the top
alone.
end sticks are what, like $400 now?
Yeah, definitely. It's just it's pretty good observation by JJ. I guess the only thought I have is like, how do you make ice time cheaper? Like, I feel like that's the big thing here, right?
And like the thing is, it's like you just can't unless you have more rinks everywhere or people start giving away ice time for free. And neither of those are going to happen overnight.
I feel like that's what does it. Like, that's what drives up, like, all the fees to like join the teams and stuff, is like they got to have practices, which means they got to have ice time. And then they got to have games, which means they have ice time. And you got to have, now that some of them probably have like free skates or skill sessions, which is more ice time. It's like,
or your ice times at 4 a.m. or 11 at night. Like it's.
Yeah. Hence beer league schedules, if you ever wonder why they're like that. So just some interesting comments from JJ Watt. It's actually a pretty good follow on Twitter, by the way. He comments on all sports. He was talking about Trout versus Ohtani last night, which was awesome. ESPN looks like fucking idiots saying that the World Baseball Classic doesn't matter. I'm sure Mac was fired up about that one.
Oh, yeah. I watched that whole game yesterday from first inning to 9th inning. Amazing game of baseball.
What a stupid comment. Like, I hate I'm actually not going to name the show. I'm not going to name the host who said all this stuff because they don't deserve the recognition, and I'd be fueling what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to name it, but ESPN sucks, and that's all I'm going to say.
Losers.
It's the same show that was trashing the NHL like 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, exactly. All right. I love this one. Jordan Binnington meltdown. We all know how Binnington gets when he gets a little angry. Last Saturday, Blues blew like what, a 4-2 lead to the Wild or something like that. And in the third period, the Wild take a 5-4 lead. I can't remember who it was, but a player on the Wild kind of bumped Hartman, of course, that makes sense now. Hartman kind of bumped Binner on his way to the celebration. Binner loses his mind. This went all over Twitter and the internet. Flower comes out of the cage for the Wild, all the way down the ice, drops the helmet, tells the ref to let him go. He was mic'd up. They released the whole clip and everything. He's like, he always does this. Why don't you just let me fight him? Ref is like holding him back. We couldn't get a goalie fight, but Binnington was suspended for 2 games as a result. Thoughts on this? This has been a strong Binnington opinion podcast over the years.
Well, I ran into one of my diehard Minnesota Wild fan buddies at a bar shortly after this happened, and he was going off on how he wishes that Fleury would have had the chance to tune him up. I'm not sure that's how that would have gone.
I don't think so, to be honest,
that's
man.
how if that was allowed. But
I know Flower liked to fight in junior, but I don't know about that one, buddy.
Yeah, but no, I mean, it would have been fun to see. That game was absolutely crazy in and of its, like, without that even. So
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game.
I'm fine with the 2 games here, guys, because at this point, what the hell is he even doing?
Can you hear me out on this though?
Like, I get it.
I think,
and don't get me wrong, it's very entertaining, but like, it would be a lot more entertaining if he was a likable human being, which to me, he's not.
But is he not a likable human being because he's like this? Like, is that?
No, and everyone's like, you know, when people ask me, like, why don't you like Jordan Binnington? He worked so hard to get to where he is. I'm like, yeah, like his cup, like, come up story was great. I'm like, then he just kind of like stopped stopping the puck and started acting like an asshole. So I think that's where I just stand on this. So
I think I like him, dude.
It's like, you know, if like Patrick Waugh, when he was doing this with like, you know, Avs Red Wings, where he was like skating out to center ice to try and beat up Chris Osgood, he was still stopping everything that came at him.
I'm kind of with Nick here. It'd be a lot cooler if he was actually like good.
Yeah. Because it's like you're just like ignoring your job to try and beat people up.
He's kind of just like making things worse, honestly. I mean,
yeah. Or the Blues told him to do this.
I was gonna say, he kind of fits right in with like the Blues brand of hockey. It kind of makes sense, but
I just like how he doesn't deviate from what he does, and no matter how much people tell him, or even his coach tells him in you know, press conferences, he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna fight everybody. And I don't know. I mean, it's good for the ratings. This shit went everywhere on the internet.
I also like the first thing I thought of when this came up, because I knew we were going to talk about this, and this is going to be like the 3rd or 4th time we've discussed Binnington and his antics this season, is Berube has already called him out for this, and he's still doing it. So he's basically just going like this to like management and the front office. So I don't know how it's going to go from here in St. Louis, but I mean, it was fun, like watching the videos, like I was saying about Waugh or like Hextall doing this when he was playing for the Flyers.
We don't say the H word here.
And he was beating people up. Sorry, that one goalie the Flyers had.
Yeah.
But like, if you're doing this all to not win hockey games, then I don't know. It just, there's something that's not as exciting about it to me.
Yeah, I echo all that. I couldn't have said it better myself.
God, it's fun. I don't know. He keeps it fun. I'll give him that. I would, as a teammate, I'd probably hate it because it's like, what the fuck are you doing? But as a fan, I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of for this. We'll see. All right, last discussion point, and this will probably get a rant incoming from everyone here. The NHL has announced that Fanatics will be the on-ice uniform partner after this season. Fanatics and the NHL agreed on a 10-year-long deal where Fanatics will now be the official on-ice uniform partner until 2035. That means that Adidas will no longer be the on-ice partner for the NHL, which also means the NHL's reverse retro program will come to an end. Per Ali Murgy, Nike did not put in a bid for the jersey rights. They are distancing their brand from hockey and felt that profit margins would not be big enough. Boys, this is rough. This is bad.
Massive L all around. I mean, 10 years too, like that's really rough. I mean, part of me wants to think like, all right, you know, if they're signing that deal, then hopefully there's something I don't realize. Maybe they're gonna up the quality, they're gonna be better or whatever. But I think I'm wrong. I think I'm being naive to think that. I think that this just boils down to the NHL being a bunch of cheapskates and literally just signing like the cheapest thing they could possibly sign and getting it out of their hair for the next decade. And yeah, it's gonna suck. Am I correct though that it all of next year is still Adidas, right? And
it is. Yeah, this starts.
Okay, I apologize.
I think this starts 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
But Mac, you absolutely nailed it. Pun intended. The NHL is absolutely being complete cheapskates here. Yeah, I don't understand what you think you're doing. I think it with the Nike thing that just says everything you need to know about the direction that the sport is going right now, despite what ESPN's marketing will tell you, doesn't seem like it's becoming a significant viable option for these big name sports companies to get involved in. And that's, I think, the big problem. I would love if Nike got back involved in hockey. I still have a Bauer Apollo Nike branded Bauer stick from back in the day, and I love that thing to death. But
I just want like a freaking CCM NHL jersey.
That's
like,
the
that
big
would be
thing
so
here.
sick.
There was one answer everyone wanted.
Sign a hockey company. Like don't sign a fucking like people pleasing like customer service company. Basically.
Yes, I could live with Reebok when you did that way back in the day. And I was okay with Adidas when you did that.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that's a soccer brand in my opinion.
The Adidas
we'll
ones at least looked modern and looked cool and like had a sharp, like kind of like trendy fashion look to them when you buy them as a fan and like wear them, There's at least some sort of like style to it where it's like Fanatics. That's just like a paper thin jersey. All of them look like the fucking like youth hockey, like decal situation.
Yes.
I mean, I would hope that there's some like regulation, like, hey, it has to be embroidered. Hey, you can't make the yellow in the Penguins color scheme be orange. Like, hey, you have to like follow these rules.
No, they're going to do it how the teams want them to do it. They're not going to deviate from that, but it's just
the problem is when you order one, that's the problem that we're going to have. The NHL jerseys are going to be fine. That doesn't really even matter that much. Like they're going to make good jerseys for the players.
It's
but
just
when
the logo
you as a
that's
fan order
if you think about it.
Yeah.
Well, so in my opinion, something Adidas did really, really well that Reebok never kind of pursued too hard. They did a great job with alternates. They did a great job with like winter classics. Like I genuinely think they did a great job in general.
Reverse retro program. Like,
so what happens? Like, how do you, you can't copycat reverse retro. Like what
That's
happens?
what I'm saying. Like when I'm talking about this whole like style and fashion thing, I don't know if anybody listening maybe lost me when I was saying that, but like Adidas like actually helped come up with ideas that like they were thinking of things, they were like, well, what if we like did this reverse retro thing? And like, if you think about some of the ads for that, right? Like they got like models and like made it look really cool to like be wearing like jeans and a hockey jersey. Like you could go out to the bar looking like this and look how cool this guy looks, like they really launched it as like a fashion thing, which was like, like it or don't, it's a successful marketing strategy and it's thinking of something. It's like coming up with an idea to try and grow, for the league revenue and also just grow the game. If you think about it, because the more people that are wearing hockey jerseys, the better it is for the sport.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to go, but it's definitely not the answer that I think the three of us wanted to see for who was going to get this jersey contract.
I did read this from Greg Wyshynski, though. Apparently, Fanatics, they make the MLB jerseys, but Nike pays them to put the Nike branding on it. Like Nike doesn't make it themselves. So if you like the MLB jerseys, they're actually made by Fanatics. It just doesn't have their logo on it. Kind of weird.
It's a little more encouraging. I do have a few MLB real jerseys that are like new enough to probably be Fanatics, and they're not bad.
I have my reverse retro caps is actually a Fanatics breakaway jersey, and it came out flawless, of course, but I think it'll just
see.
Be
we can criticize as much as we want. We won't know until we see. So
and maybe we should actually buy one instead of buying them from China, but
we'll try it once, and if it's not good, then I'm right back.
I'm sending it back.
Yeah. All righty. Well, that will wrap it up for our discussion segment. We are going to move on to our interview with Rick Rowley. Want to thank him once again for coming on. The most frequent guest in podcast history. So that's definitely worth tipping your cap to. So without further ado, we're going to toss it off to Rick Rowley right now.
All right, let's go. Woo!
Alrighty, everyone. It's now my pleasure to welcome back on for his record-setting 4th time on the Empty Betters podcast, Mr. Rick Rowley, all the way from Toronto. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
What's up, boys? It's an honor to be fucking most selected guest here all time for the Empty Betters, boys.
Yeah, you're like the Gretz for guest appearances on the show. So never in bad company when you're up there.
Yeah, fucking rights, man. I'm horned up right now.
So what's been going on with you lately, man? We know you're always busy. How's the stand-up comedy going? What's the 411?
Yeah, it's good, man. I been back in the stand-up a little bit. I took a bit of a hiatus because I just wanted to come home every night and just fucking watch hockey and make content. So I was getting, if I go out to a show, then I missed the games. I was having more fun just watching games and making videos than going out there and telling dick jokes or anything like that. So I got back onto just to see if I could still go, and I was in McJesus's hometown, Newmarket. He's just a little north of Toronto. I asked anyone there if they seen McJesus before. A few guys said they seen him, and I did 30 minutes on stage, so I still wanted to see if I had it. Yeah, so I got some big shows coming up, and other than that, man, I'm not gonna lie, I'm fucking nervous about next month, man. The playoffs, it always starts creeping up, and then I don't know, man, freaking out.
Well, you want to just hop right into the Leafs talk? I mean, we said before the episode we'll talk some East playoffs. So let's do it. I mean, I would say, and you tell me if you disagree, I would say it's almost set in stone that you guys are going to have a rematch with the Tampa Bay Lightning. What are your thoughts?
It's been determined since fucking American Thanksgiving. Pretty much. We've known this playoff series is going to happen since we got fucking eliminated from them last year. It's just how the universe unfolds. And I don't know. I mean, yeah, at this point they're just playing for home ice, so it doesn't really look like anything's gonna change. And I don't know. I mean, I understand going out there and trying to get a little meaner. They want some guys that could whip their dick around a little bit, and those are the kinds of guys you're gonna need against Tampa Bay and Boston. But I don't know, boys. It's I'm getting ready for something either special happening, or I'm getting ready for a complete meltdown, which is tear it all to smithereens. That makes sense.
I was gonna ask, where's the panic index right now? 1 being let's blow this thing up, 10 being to quote your own video, plan the parade, it's already over. Where are you on that spectrum?
Well, see, this year's a little different because there's a deadline now. It's before it was kind of okay, these young kids they're still trying to find their way, right? Michael Jordan, it took him fucking a few years to get that's everyone was doing that. That's why I didn't like when that fucking documentary came out right after the Leafs got beaten out.
Yeah.
And I was like, now they're gonna be comparing the Leafs to this year after year. So the consensus was all great things take time, but now we got a deadline because as of July 1st, Papi Chulo can sign his contract extension. So you got to ask yourself if it's boys, I lost track. Is it 6 fucking straight first round exits? I'm even forgetting now.
We'll roll with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
No playoff series wins since 2002, correct?
2004.
2004, okay.
Yeah. I was right when I was right when I hit puberty. It was back in 2004. It's when I peaked, boys. So yeah, you got Washington, fucking Boston, Columbus, Montreal, Tampa. So this would be 7 straight, and you got to ask yourself, what incentive would there be for him to re-sign? What everyone's going to say because it's Toronto. Well, if he wants to win a Stanley Cup, then he knows it ain't going to fucking happen here. So now it's a little different where it's like we can't really fuck around anymore. This is sort of like we've exhausted all opportunities to do that. And short of going on a run, like I don't even think anyone would be satisfied at this point by winning a round. It's got to be all or nothing. So yeah, I would say the pressure's up there. But I'm kind of like sitting there being like, I'm watching this, man. I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm like, you know what? If we also fucking have to burn it all to the ground, it might not be the worst thing in the world. You know?
Yeah,
Teams can turn contenders really fucking quick, and it's like maybe you just never got it done with these guys. Maybe that's just something we're gonna have to live with. I've already started preparing for it, boys. I don't know if that's throwing in the towel.
No, it's taking care of your mental health as a Leafs fan, so we understand that.
Oh, it's been so many, and I used to like I would do the whole standard where it's like I get kind of like wrenched and get a little and then occasionally there's like a sad tug here and there, but I was just like, you know what, like I'm just gonna try to get over this like a lot quicker this time and just be like, it's fucking done. Like most of these guys I'm older than, you know, like
yeah.
I should be focused on my life and not so pissy with this. I don't know. But then there's the other part of me that's no matter what, I'm gonna always care. So gotta live with that.
Where we stand on the goalies right now, because I know Samsonov has had some pretty bright moments this season, but he just had maybe one of his worst games of the year, and now I think I heard he's stepping away because his wife's having a kid or something like that. Or
yeah, I think in Toronto he knocked up a girl or something like that, and I don't know. With all due respect, I think he'd been with her. So last night, I don't know what the fuck that was like. Like he couldn't save a fucking PDF last night, you know what I mean? And I was like watching, I was like, what's going on here? Like, mind you, it was a lot of turnovers and shit, but yeah, he just got lit the fuck up. So what I guess the redeemable quality would be like if you're gonna see Edmonton or Colorado going to run, they got Gorgiev, which no disrespect, but I don't think a lot of people would see him as a playoff starter. Stuart Skinner's gonna have to get the job done for the Oil. And you see how high offense it is now. It's that there's not as many teams that I think has a 10 that can steal a series for you. Although the who we're playing in the first round is one of those 10s.
Yes.
Vasilevsky. But the point is that I think as the game gets more offensive, it's less about a goal. Like so yes, in theory, I am nervous about it because I don't even know. Like I think he has a fucking terrible record in the playoffs.
Sammy, yeah.
Can confirm.
Yeah, he's your guy's goalie.
Yep.
Yeah, he's dosed in the playoffs, right?
it's a small sample size, but
it's not good.
Yeah, I think that's why, because I heard that a little bit. Some of the Washington Capitals were kind of bullying him. I don't know if I heard that right, and it must have been because he couldn't make a fucking save. I don't know.
That dropping the stick, it all added up.
Yeah. So I like what he's done this year, though. He's definitely surprised, I think, a lot of people, and he took that job from Matt Murray. But I don't. It just like the Leafs season, it means nothing until the playoffs start. And
right.
That's what I'll say about that. I mean, they went out and got enough fucking pieces, so it's like at this point you got to try to figure something out.
Yeah, how do you feel about the deadline moves? I mean, the big one's going to be obviously Ryan O'Reilly, hurt right now, but with what they did at the deadline, are you happy with it, or do you think they missed out on a couple other pieces?
Well, see, the thing is about like I'm more of a believer in quality over quantity, and it seemed like a lot of pieces at once. And originally, I had my issues with that. The boys had I messaged the boys over at Missing Curfew, and they addressed it to me on the for me on the pod, and basically just said, I mean, they were national leaguers, and they just said like, "Fuck it," when you've lost 6 times in a row, like. Who cares about the chemistry? I don't like the idea that it was so like my whole thinking is why didn't you do this shit sooner? Like you could have added a Ryan O'Reilly piece like I know he wasn't for sale until this year, but you could have gotten someone like him a year ago and then keep working with it. But to just go kind of ball us in like this just seemed like a lot at once. And I don't like the fact that they have like fucking 11 defensemen now. Like, it's like, Christ almighty, like they have so many, and like every game there's like a new fucking pairing. I wish they would just sit Justin Hall for good. Like, I wish this guy would fucking go get his forklift license or something like that and step away from hockey. But they're rotating defensemen every game now, and they're all getting a new fucking partner. And it's like, I don't understand this. Like, you made these moves way before the deadline to try and get the chemistry, but now it's like no one's safe in that. And I think it's playing weird mind games with them. So to answer your question, I think it was a lot to like digest, like all the moves, and I don't really know until it comes playoff time. I like the idea of getting more piss and vinegar, but he could have done this years ago, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. The thoughts on the Sandin deal?
Yeah, I mean, you guys must be happy about that. All I hear about on Twitter now, and I don't know if they manipulate it based on what you like. I'm assuming the algorithm's there, but I'm just seeing constant like people tweeting now about how much of a dumbass Dubas is for trading Rasmus Sandin. He's got like fucking 10 points for you guys.
I thought that was a great deal for both teams, to be honest.
Yeah. He has had a strong start, like numbers wise. Although I did see something the other day that says like since joining the Capitals, he's like -11 or something like that, which is way more a testament to how shitty our team is right now than anything else. But I guess that's like the one downside you could point out so far. But
right. No disrespect to the Caps, you boys, right? You guys have fucking seen more mugs lifted than me. So, but what I'm saying is that everyone was talking about, oh yeah, Sandin played like fucking 30 minutes. And I was like, yeah, because like their D fucking sucks.
Yeah, there's no one else there.
I mean, John Carlson literally broke his face, so we have like no one.
Yeah, exactly. So I knew Carlson, and I actually like I didn't mind the Jensen and Van Riemsdyk deals, but it was like, of course he's going to be playing that much time when you're missing half your fucking D core. They just traded Orlov, and I was like,
exactly.
So it's like, yeah, you might have scored like had a 3-point night, but you were also like in for like fucking like 8 goals against, and it's like, you know what I mean? Like,
I saw somebody comparing it to when the Capitals had to get rid of Jonas Siegenthaler, and before that Nate Schmidt. It's super similar. It's like a guy that was more than capable of being like a number one D pair guy, just wasn't room for him to do so on his current team, so needed to go somewhere else. And it's like everyone's shocked when all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, Nate Schmidt's sweet in Vegas, or like Siegenthaler is sick in New Jersey. It's like, well, yeah, like you said, of course he is, because suddenly he's the best defenseman on that team.
Oh, and that's just it, is that if you're looking at Rasmus Sandin as a long-term investment, like a long-term player for the Washington Capitals, sure, enjoy the fucking 20 games you got him after the deadline. But hey, if he signs an 8-year extension in 2 years, because I think he's an RFA, he signed a 2-year bridge with the Leafs. You're gonna have him around for another 8 years, and let's see at the end of that if Caps fans are fucking exhausted. And so it's looking good for him right now. I don't have doubt though. Like, he looks like he has potential to be, potential fucking first line defenseman for the Caps. It's looking good so far. Yeah. And in that situation for Doobie, not so much. But again, it's like, what were you gonna do? And he just wanted way too much ice time, and I think he fucked up over the summer, because LilyPad, Timothy Liljegren, in case you boys didn't know, he shut the fuck up. He took his 2-year bridge deal, but Sandin, he was like trying to like he held out a little bit. He went up apparently went up to the mountains and did fucking Zoomers up there during his contract negotiations, and then he came back, and then he just signed at the same extension as LilyPad anyway. So I think he got a little greedy. Like, he was like, oh, I want more playing time, and I just think it wasn't gonna work out with them. So yeah, I'm happy for you guys, but hopefully we fucking lay this fucker out next time we play the Caps.
Speaking of contract holdouts, a guy who was on the Leafs that did that, if I'm not mistaken, was Willie Stiles back in what, like 2-3 years ago. There was a bunch of contract disputes, and he has been probably your best player this season, I would say. What have your thoughts been on him so far?
Yeah, he's really impressed, and that was he was the young guys. They just squeezed us like for everything, right? They got paid, but I think the thing about Willie is that he was a bit of a floater, mind you. He's in a little bit of a shit slide right now, but he had a tendency to be a bit of a floater. I don't know. I think his dad was the same way. I heard like a little bit kind of soft around the edges, but he's really improved like his overall game. And I think if anything, like him and Mitchie have stepped up like way above expectations compared to Austin Matthews, because I mean naturally the spotlight's going to be on Poppy, like winning the Hart, the way he did. 60 rips last year, like that happens like every 10 years, although it's probably going to happen again this year, but the point is it was like unheard of. And I think him kind of offensively at least taking the step back that he did, these boys really came up and started doing some major thumping. So I like Willie Stiles. I like, the season he's having, but again, I want to see him every night be, a threat, like the best Maple Leaf out there, the same way as like Mitchie Marner. You're going to look at those guys to win you the big games in the playoffs. It's not going to be, fucking Noel Achari, no disrespect, right?
Yeah. No, I hear you. We'll talk about East playoff race just a little bit. Other than the Leafs, who's a dark horse that you kind of like that maybe nobody's talking about, either out east or out west?
Yeah, I was speaking of that with my brother a few weeks ago. In the West, I really like I would say the Oilers, just because of the fact that I just think that the West is so wide open, and the way that McJesus is able to fucking like completely like come in there and fucking just win you games no matter what. I like their chances there, but I guess if we're focusing more on the East, you boys are more of a the Metro crowd, eh?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Our audience leans that way. Although I like hearing we're trying to get more West takes. We've been having one of my buddies who's a diehard Kings fan come on a lot recently, and he's real big on how the Kings are a sleeper team, which we'll see about. But
it's not a bad take. And them in Colorado, you just can't rule out Colorado. Like Landy's getting healthy, and I think them coming in with what they were able to do last year. So I would say, if you're looking at the West, there's maybe 3 teams to me that I think have a legitimate shot of coming out of there. And honestly, I wouldn't even necessarily say Dallas or Vegas. Is no disrespect, but I would say that the scary teams out there would be Colorado, Edmonton, for me. And I would probably throw the Kings up there. Now in the East, I would have said Carolina until the Svetch thing.
It's such a deal breaker. And I'm surprised more people aren't like freaking out about it. It seems like it's still getting like not enough attention as it should be. Cause to me, it feels like it's like over for that. Like, I mean,
yeah, it 100%. I mean, like, it's so shitty because I think their GM fucked up a little bit. I think the fact that they were right up there and all those teams were fucking pissing away first round picks. And it's like, you hate to be like the follower, but you kind of have to do the same as everybody else. And I think for whatever reason, I don't know if maybe you boys would be able to help me out better with this. I don't know if North Carolina isn't exactly like a hockey hotbed. Is it a nice place to visit? It's not Columbus.
I mean, I was just there for that freaking atrocious Caps Canes outdoor game. And
you were there.
Yeah, I mean, North Carolina has some decent places to go, but specifically Raleigh, I would say there's really not much going on. It's
okay, right, because it's not Charlotte, right? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, or like Wilmington. There's a lot of other cooler spots in North Carolina, but for the most part, Raleigh was kind of underwhelming. There's like a pretty tiny downtown area and not much else.
So it reminds me, it would probably be like the size of like fucking Ottawa, where it's like just over a mil. It's like it's not really humming. Like you probably would want to
It's
go to
definitely not like the big city for that state. Like that's definitely
right.
Charlotte.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that makes I don't know if like a lot of like I don't know where Carolina is if they fucking are like on a lot of teams no trades. I know that like Columbus, but from what I hear, Columbus is a fucking shit stain of the Midwest. I don't know. But anyways,
Yes.
so I think they fucked up by not going out there. Number one, to get somebody replace Patches. That was the first one.
Yeah.
And then now it's Fetch, and you just look at those guys. I mean, they score at like, what is it? You boys are probably better at number crunch than me. Probably like half a goal a game, each of them.
Right.
So you add that together, you just lost one full fucking goal.
Yeah.
A goal that could change a game and a series. So I would say that was my team. Like I was like, if there's a team that could take out the Bruins, I think it would be them. And that was just a personal thing. So I also like the Rags chances. I don't know how you boys feel about that, but they've been playing some real good hockey lately, and just the veteran presence out there. Like both those guys, they acquired one mugs before.
I'm undecided on that. Jury's still out for me on the Rangers because I feel like it's going to be one of two extremes. Like either they are what they're cracked up to be, they got Kane, right. It's going to go crazy. They're going to the Cup final and they might win, or it's like this just ends in a huge catastrophe and everybody's pointing and laughing at them at the end. And I really hope it's that one.
I really hope it's the later one.
But I'm not sure.
It'd be nice,
I'm not sure.
It'd be nice if it wasn't the Leafs for once where that fucking happened, you know? I like someone else being the bunt of the jokes every once in a while.
Are you a believer in the Devils? I gotta ask you. They're one team that it's very polarizing. Some people say, they're too young, they're too new, it's not gonna happen. But they just keep going, man.
Yeah. I think they've exceeded expectations this year. I mean, that goes without saying. But I think if they play the Regs in round one, they're gonna get fucking pumped. That would just be my opinion.
I'm kind of going the other way. I'm thinking if we get the Subway Series in the first round, I think the Devils will get it done.
I think they would get up for it and they'd find a way to win a couple of games, but I do kind of side with Rick where it might be too much for them to handle. However, if you look at the standings right now, if somehow the Devils are able to hop over Carolina, which they're only 2 points behind for the division, if they can win the division, there's a world where they could actually play the Islanders in the first round. And I think that similarly, they'd get up for the crosstown rivalry, but they could handle them. I think they could definitely beat the Islanders.
Fucking, and I, as a Canadian, I haven't seen a lot of this, but I know that fucking little triangle right there, the three New York teams, is like people die in those fucking series. And I would love to see, I mean, Regs and Devils would get me real horned up, but I think I think the Devils and the Islanders, like anything with those three teams, I think would be a fucking unreal series. I would love to see that. So I don't know. The Devils have a good opportunity here to like really define themselves, because they're the like one of the only teams this year of all these playoff teams that have never done this before. So they have a fresh slate. They're like, hey, we can be like
they got nothing to lose. Yeah.
They could be like Chicago. Remember when they became relevant again? I don't even know if you boys are watching hockey, but they went to the West Final their first time like making the playoffs after like 7-8 years. So like all I'm saying is that the Devils have, and they're gonna be fucking like a wagon for years to come. They got Luke Hughes coming in, and I can't even say his name. Fucking Nemec.
Which one?
Who?
The guy that went second overall this year, Simon Nemec.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I fucking butchered his name so badly, I probably made you guys go fucking full Forrest Gump right there. But they have a wagon defense coming up in the next couple years. I mean, Timo Meyer, fuck, I don't know. I'm kind of bad. Yeah, Heischer, Jack Hughes. Like, it's just like they're gonna be a wagon, so they could like literally come in here and just set the tone. But I just think that I don't know. I have a hard time believing that like teams that come, especially how competitive not only the playoffs are, but like the East this year, a team like the Devils coming in and just cleaning house. I don't see it. I just think that they would get stumped by a team with more veteran presence. That's my opinion, but fuck, I'm not really good at betting like like you boys.
Neither are we.
Yeah.
You guys making people money or fucking losing the money?
See all of the above.
Yeah.
Question for you about one of the Canadian teams out west. What in the hell is going on with the Calgary Flames?
Oh, I don't know, man. I've been hearing that I think they're getting a little bit of a reputation of people going out to fucking Berta for their careers to die, eh?
Like seriously though.
Yeah, not Edmonton though. Like you ain't gonna do that, especially if you're fucking happen to get lucky enough to be on a line with McJesus, even for like a couple of fucking shifts. But I think with Calgary, again, what I say about like the whole chemistry, maybe some people say it doesn't matter. I think with how you just completely like changed over their like sort of like identity, to be honest, like losing Johnny Hockey and Kachuk, I think it just was a lot for them. I don't know if the players really kind of I mean, Hubie, that like I feel bad for the guy because like every time he scores, I'm like, that's a $1 million goal right there.
Seriously
like,
though.
And he's getting taken care of after this year. And it's like, I would never say, I have too much respect for Hubie to sit there and say that he's like a fucking bum for his contract. Like I would never put him. He would have to have like 5 straight shit years for me to be like, yeah, this is like Oliver Ekman-Larsson or some shit, or Bobrovsky or whatever. But like, it's like he's getting taken care of well. So it's like he's got. I mean, I get the first year kind of being a little out, but it's like you gotta. All right, buddy. Like no more fucking around here. Like I know you don't have the Ferraris in South Florida anymore, but buy a pickup truck and fucking drive to the barn like a real man. So anyway, I would say it's a transition year for the Flames, but I don't know. I think maybe Sutter's a little bit. I think I don't think the boys like him very much.
I think it might be time.
They're also, as we say this, they're only 4 points out of a playoff spot with 10 games to play. They're 4 points behind the Jets, and they've played the same amount of games too. So like, the Jets are good though. The Jets have been sneaky good all year. I don't expect them to cough up that spot, but you never know.
No, and you know what it is too. And this is like another. I don't have the exact standings in front of me, but how many wins compare those two? Like they got to start figuring out a way where you get. I don't know if it's like international rules where you get like an extra point for like an actual like win, but fucking I think like Calgary have like almost 20 overtime losses.
Yep. So that's a good point. So what's weird is they're kind of polar opposites. Like Winnipeg is basically only won regulation. Their record is 40, 29, and 3. So like almost all their points are from just straight up wins. Calgary, you're right. They've actually lost a shit ton of hockey games this year, but they are 32, 25, and 15.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Not a good record.
It's crazy. They've managed to hang on and get beat in OT or shootout enough times that they're right there. Which is like, you kind of hope a team like that doesn't make the playoffs because it's probably just going to be like a shit series.
Exactly right. Like I look at that as kind of like a fucking. I mean, you don't want to go into overtime in the fucking playoffs. Clearly, this team can't win.
Yeah, seriously.
Like in the playoffs, but I don't really see them as a team that ends up squeaking. And I think the West has been set for a while. Now the East, and I know that there's probably there's a nervous Pens fan over there because I can't figure out this team.
Yeah, me neither.
From what I've seen, they've been so fucking streaky. Like sometimes they'll win like a bunch. You're like, oh yeah, like this team's back to fucking humming. And then it's like, oh shit, they got passed last night, did they not? Or 2 nights ago?
Yeah, this is the first time since Crosby's rookie year where the Penguins are not in a playoff spot 70 games in.
That's insane. So what do you think? I know you're probably trying to ask me about the Leafs, but I want to know some of your guys' take about the fucking Pens. Are they even going to get in?
I don't know. They got a tough schedule coming up. They got Colorado tonight on prime time. Will probably get waxed. They got Dallas tomorrow night on prime time. They'll probably get waxed. They got the Caps on Saturday on prime time. 3 straight prime time games for us to prove how bad we are. We'll probably end up losing that one.
But that's at home.
It's kind of a bummer that Caps Penguins game isn't probably going to matter as much as like we hoped it would when we looked at it earlier in the season. Like even if each team just had like 5 more points in the standings or something, that could be a huge game, but it's kind of just like a loser fest at this point.
Here's what I'll say, Rick. We're a bad team and I don't think we'll make the playoffs. But the part that makes me angry is that like the people online who don't watch a lot, to be like, oh, they're too old or they're too this. And it's like the big three have done their job. Like if you look at Sid and Gino and Tanger, like they've all produced, they've all carried their weight. Hextall just killed our team. Like we have no depth and no goaltending because we just don't.
Hey, you got Granlund though.
Yeah.
Dude, someone explained that to me. I was like, is your fucking GM crushing nose beers or something? Like,
I hate it.
I understand. He fucking got rid of Cap, and I was like, great, you got Cap space, and he fucking gets rid of Cap and to get Granlund, and I was like, what the
stupidest thing. One long-haired blonde soft ass for another long-haired blonde soft ass. It's
like,
stupid.
I couldn't figure this out. I was like, what is this guy's deal right here? Like, that was like a move right there where I was like, Buds, you gotta fucking
He's an idiot.
You gotta chuck a fucking coffee mug at the guy's face for making a move like that. Like I didn't understand moving outside like that to do a move. So I don't know, man. Like I was thinking about that too. I got a lot of friends that are Pens fans too, like people who I've met through like online and shit, and they're nervous as fuck right now. But the crazy thing is that if they get in the playoffs, I don't think you can really rule them out. I get that they've had.
No.
Oh, you can. They're dead.
No, they're like the Patriots. If they make it there, they've got a shot.
If we had some type of depth, I'd agree. But like we have 2 lines and no goalie. I mean, that's really the problem.
But you know how Crosby is. If they get in, he's about to fire that team up and be like, do you really want to be the reason why I don't get another chance to win a cup here? Like, all the young depth guys on that team are going to know what the fuck the deal is and what's on the table if they get in.
Yeah, like I would say the thing about the Pens is that as long as they get in, they got a fucking shot, just like anybody else. And they're
so well coached. It's like, get Sully in, he'll find a way to at least win you a couple games. I have no problem believing that.
If we played Boston, they'd beat us in 4 games easy. I really can say that confidently. Like
I don't know, but let me ask you boys a question. If the Leafs this year just squeaked in, or the Pens just squeaked in, what team, and on paper, like let's just say standings, what team would you look at has a better shot at fucking going on a run? I would say the Pens, just because
I totally agree with you.
Because they have fucking Crosby and they have Gino and they have Letang and they've all done it before. And because I didn't think Boston were going to be this good. Who thought that Boston were going to be this fucking good? I didn't even have them making the playoffs.
No,
we all had them missing at the beginning of the year. We did our previews. We were all like, oh, this team's washed up. They suck. They're not going to make it. Their goalies suck. We were literally like, oh, Mark, this guy sucks. No way.
He's
a wagon.
Shit on that one.
Yeah. Who had that on their fucking bingo cards, boys?
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying, it's like, who knows with the Pens? Like they could do the exact same. I have no idea, boys. And you know what? That's why I like the Stanley Cup playoffs, because it's so hard to win. You got 4 fucking rounds. Like I love NFL too. Like it's probably like I much respect to the Americans for having such a fucking entertaining sport like that. But if you get a bye in the NFL, you only have to win fucking 3 games?
Yep. Yeah, 3 games
to win the Super Bowl, where it's like hockey, you got to win 16. It's like a whole other season in itself. And that's why I'm like fucking so horned up for I mean, I'm not really horned up for the first round because we all know what
stressed up for the first round.
Yeah, exactly. But I get really excited for, after, because it's just so amazing. And I don't know, man, I think Boston, like, who knows? They could get like shocked exactly the same way like Tampa did
yeah.
a few
It
years
never
ago.
goes
never
well
know.
when you win the President's Trophy by that much. It never
Nope.
goes well. So
Exactly, because everyone like they got a target on their back, boys, and like everyone like they're watching. Like every team's gonna be watching them, like they're filming everything compared to like anybody else. It's just who fucking knows, and that's what I love about the playoffs. I don't think anyone can ever predict it perfectly, and that's why I think it's so exciting.
Well, speaking of predictions, I'm going to put you on the spot before we start wrapping up here. We're recording this on what, March 22nd? Obviously, we don't have playoff matchups right now, but if I put a gun to your head, who do you have in the Cup Finals, and then who do you have winning?
Oh, fuck, boys. Okay, let me think. I'm going to go with you know what? One for the Canadians here. Edmonton and Toronto in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow.
I love it.
Yeah. And I'm going to go let's go Oil in 7.
Wow. I don't hate it. I mean, Leafs get by the first round. You never
that'd
know
be
what
a fun
do.
one to watch.
That would be a fun one to watch.
That would be sick. I don't know if Batman's going to let that happen. Fucking Gary Batman. But 2 Canadian teams in the finals, eh? But
Well, speaking of things that Batman's gonna let happen, who gets this first overall pick? Do you think it's going straight to the Yotes because that's his pet project?
No, I think he's gonna make him go to fucking Chicago.
Wow.
I just think an original 6 team. What boys? I want to
Big
hear
market.
both. I want to hear all your Stanley Cup final takes, and I want to hear all your Bedard takes.
So I think
Let's go, boys. Round table.
Cup final, I had Oil and Rags.
Okay.
I don't remember who I had winning. I feel like I might have taken the Rangers, but don't quote me on that. In a weird way, I feel like the San Jose Sharks are going to get Connor Bedard.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's not a bad take, fella.
I also had the Oilers and the Rangers at the beginning of the season in the Cup final with the Rangers winning. And since that's still totally a possibility, I'm just going to stick with it.
Okay, that's a good one.
Would love to be wrong about that though. Fuck the Rangers. And then Bedard, I actually think I bought into the whole theory that like he's gonna go to Arizona because that's Batman's his baby project and everything. So I could see that.
Yeah, good call.
I before the season, I also had the Rangers in the Cup final, and I had the St. Louis Blues in the West. Obviously, that's dead.
Fuck.
They're in the Bedard sweepstakes right now. I guess if you made me repick my West team, I mean, I really like the way the LA Kings are looking. I mean, obviously the Oilers and the Avalanche are probably the favorites, but I'll go with the Kings. I'll do something a little different. They're playing hot right now. I'll go Kings, and I'll keep the Rangers because I had them. Bedard, the Metro always ends up getting the best players, so he's going to go to Columbus, and we're going to have to live with it for the next 20 years, and it's going to suck. So.
Oh fuck! Well, if he stays, maybe he pulls a Lindros and says, "Fuck it, boys, I'm not reporting."
I don't blame him.
That would be a huge trade. It would be like a Lindros like trade where it'd be like
probably my god,
millions of picks, and like the team would become a wagon, just like fucking Quebec and then Colorado ended up becoming.
Yeah.
Lindros made them a dynasty.
True. People forget.
Yeah. Fucking right, boys. I like the predictions here.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the playoff talk that we have. I don't know if you guys have any other questions.
No, I think that's it. Oh, real quick, before we wrap up, I saw you got a chance to go out and check out Disney World. How was your experience there?
Oh, boys, it was fucking sick. I think we spoke a little bit online when you were. So let me tell you, boys, that was my first time going to the States.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
10 years. I never went, man. I went to New York City for New Year's Eve once, which was a good time.
Nice.
And then and then I ended up my visa expired, but then I was supposed to go there to do stand up, and then passport, I guess, sorry. And then it didn't end up working out. So my girl, because she got a place down in Orlando.
Oh, okay.
So I went and I did 5 fucking parks in 5 days. Like I did all the Disney ones, and then I went to Universal, and I went to the one park, Epcot, and I just got fucking rinsed, boys. Like
Wow.
I went through all the countries, and I said that anytime I go to a new place, and then by the end of it, I'm walking out there like fucking Frankenstein, trying to like high five like all the like the Mickey Mouses and shit like that. And I love it, man. Florida's fucking sick, boys. I would love to do more traveling in the States in general. Yeah, man, you guys. Oh, I went to Top Golf, man. The fact that you boys have fucking Top Golf is unreal, because we don't have anything like that we have a couple of driving ranges, but I just love getting rinsed and going to Top Golf. So
makes you feel a lot better about your swing, doesn't it?
Oh, fucking rights, man. I was like, I was pretty shitty titty out there, but America fucks, boys. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, we'll have to get you down here for you. I feel like you would love Baltimore. Like, I feel like you would just thrive in that city.
Yeah, I could see it.
You boys got a nice little. I seen a couple of things on your online. You guys get nice little turnouts. Where's that, in Baltimore? And you guys do like watch parties and stuff.
Yeah,
we did one in Milwaukee, I think, a couple months ago.
Yep.
Oh, sick. So I feel like Milwaukee's more up my alley, though, eh? Like Wisconsin and Minnesota.
It's definitely a little more what you're probably used to, but it's also like the drinking capital of America, pretty much.
Yeah.
Milwaukee. So
fucking right. Are you still out there?
I'm here. Yeah.
I think both times we've flown in, Harry and I have flown in to visit Mac. We landed at like 8 and were drinking by 10 a.m. on that Friday.
And we weren't the only ones.
No. No, at Conejito's, the bar was like packed on like a Friday at like 11 a.m.
That's so okay. So boys, let me ask you, you know me, like good Canadian kid or whatever. Where would I fit in? Where would be a fucking good place for Rick Rowley to visit? Would it be Baltimore? Fucking St. Paul, Milwaukee? Like what?
I could see like Minneapolis or something, but but also in just a more like wholesome way, I could see it being a smaller town like like Baltimore or something like that. And which, you know, Baltimore obviously still a pretty big city, but in comparison to somewhere like, you know, Chicago or Minneapolis.
Right. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, because I've been meaning to do like my dream is to get all fucking 32 barns. Like,
that would be sick.
Yeah. So I got some places I need to go, but I just want to go to the States. A lot of great people down there, and all of my shows too. Like, I feel like there's places I could perform, like probably more northern, to be honest, northern states. But I would probably do well as shows in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, places like that. So you boys tell me, and fuck, I don't know, but I'll get the air miles cashed in and work something out.
There you go.
Fucking right.
We'll all meet up in Milwaukee in the summer or next winter or something.
I'm fucking down.
Yep,
that'd be sick.
We'll have to make that happen.
Trip. Yeah. Well, Rick, we know we've taken up a decent chunk of your time here, but just want to say we appreciate you coming on as always. You're now a Hall of Famer, the number one all time, so that you're the GOAT.
Boys, I'm fucking, it's an honor. I'll get you boys on the beauty sauce too, all right?
Sounds good, man. We'll have to set it up.
All right. Fucking beauty, boys.
All right, appreciate it, man.
All right, bye.
A huge thanks to Rick for joining us. Obviously, always a good time chatting with him, and I will never stop using the term couldn't save it, even if it was a PDF. I think that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. And I also will now start using the word pinned or rinsed to refer to indulging in alcohol.
Yeah, those are all good. I feel like we always get a nice Canadian vocab lesson every time he's on the show. It's always fun.
Dude's such a good guy too. So we really, really appreciate him coming on again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on to the injuries around the league. Real quick, Marcus Pettersson, Penn's best defenseman, out, of course, dead. Arturi Lehkonen, Colorado, 4 to 6 weeks, broken finger. John Carlson, Mac or Nick? I'll let you guys read this one.
I'm gonna actually read this one because I feel like I have something that I need to say. A few weeks ago on this podcast, I said something along the lines of like, and okay, let me just say this. I made a disclaimer when I said the statement. I was like, I don't want to be insensitive here. I don't know what's going on. I'm sure whatever it is really serious, but I just don't get like why it's taken him so long to come back, right? Because you know how the NHL does injuries, you don't know what's happening. They're just like, yeah, he's out for however long. And I, as a fan, I wanted to make sense of it. And I in no means meant to be insensitive towards his injury, because this is obviously very serious now that we know what happened. And yeah, I just want to go ahead and say I was never trying to.
I don't think you were being insensitive. I think you were just like, you were frustrated like the rest of us. And you were just like, I want to know, like, what in the hell is going on?
Yeah. Well, if you haven't heard, it was bad. Basically, John Carlson update. He is nearing a return after being sidelined for a few months now. I don't think he's played since mid-December, right? Or late December. That's when it was.
December 23rd.
Yep, you were there. So he had basically a fractured skull. That's not the worst of it. He had a severed temporal artery and a severed ear, which had to be fully reattached to his head. His quote he's kind of opened up recently and spoken about it a little bit. He said, it felt like he just got struck by lightning. That's the only way he could describe it. The pain was unbearable. And he said, quote, I thought I wasn't going to make it. So extremely, extremely serious stuff. It begs the question, like, I don't know, boys.
What are you doing?
Why aren't we wearing cages in the NHL?
Yeah.
Like it's so silly. Honestly.
I'll go one less. He doesn't wear ear guards.
I know, that's even worse. A lot of players take the ear guards out just because it looks cooler. And
I took them out for beer league. I can't lie. Like,
yeah, but you're also probably not standing in front of like.
No, you're right. If he doesn't wear ear guards when he comes back, he's a psychopath.
He might not. I don't think he is, because
you know how these guys are. They don't change.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable. Like, and there aren't that many guys who wear them. Like, off the top of my head, I know Sid, Gino, Patrick Kane. That's like the three I can name. That's it.
I feel like a lot of the younger guys might.
Maybe Clayton Keller. I think he does too. I don't know, but nobody wears them. And these guys are getting pucks whipped around at 100 miles an hour with no ear guards.
It's scary stuff. Anyway, apparently he's nearing return. It seems to me, based on what the Caps beat reporters have been tweeting, seems like we'll see John Carlson play a hockey game before the end of this season, which in my opinion, I'm almost like, why? Like, I mean, I guess maybe it'd be better to just get him in there and get a couple games and make sure he's like feels okay. But like at the same time, we got nothing to play for at this point. Like, we're dead as a doornail. And I don't know. I feel like it's like, why risk it more? If he could just go ahead and rest for like several more months, that's probably better.
I'm totally with you on that. I mean, unless he's like, no, I'm 100%, I'm good to go, and I want to get back out there, then...
I mean, you would think that that's what he's saying.
Probably.
Otherwise, they probably wouldn't. I'm sure he is eager to get back out there. But
I did see a Laviolette quote when asked, like, why wouldn't he just take the rest of the year? And Lavi did say, like, well, this is like your, Norris Trophy finalist defenseman. If he's available to play, you're going to play him.
Yeah. No, I understand. I mean, it's... And also, maybe John wants to play. Maybe he wants to get back on this. What are the Caps going to do? Say no? I mean, he's their their ace. So real scary incident there. And then just one little roster move. The Avs, Colorado Avalanche, have extended Jared Bednar to a 3-year contract that will last through the 2026-2027 season. Don't think that's comes to any surprise to any of us. So, Nick, before we wrap up the episode, we got some college hockey. Frozen Four here in Tampa Bay begins tonight as we're recording this. I'll toss it off to you.
It'll start tomorrow, actually. So today that you're recording this, during the day. So we'll get some afternoon college hockey games, which you got to love. But real quick, before we get to the dudes, I want to start with the ladies. For the 7th time in program history, record-setting 7th time, the Wisconsin Lady Badgers have won the national championship by defeating Ohio State 1-0. Shout out to Mark Johnson. Once again, him and his entire program have proved they're just the class of the field for women's hockey. So shout out to Lady Wumbo for getting that done. Going over to the men's side, the Frozen Four is going to begin today, the day you're listening to this, in Tampa Bay. The number 1 seeds are, of course, Minnesota, Michigan, Denver, and Quinnipiac, and the Gophers come into that as the top team in the country. My team to beat for sure. All these games are going to be scattered across ESPN networks, so ESPN Plus is just going to be the easiest way to watch them. I believe they start at 2 p.m. today, go through about like 9 p.m., should roll through the rest of the weekend before a week or so break. So in between your March Madness, be sure to mix in a couple of these games because this tournament is every bit as good as the college basketball tournament is.
Yeah, always an
Absolutely.
awesome time. Always an awesome time. Any guys that you're keeping your eye on? I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Logan Cooley, I believe he's a Gopher, Minnesota guy.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the ones you want to watch. Cooley for the Gophers. I don't think anyone's stock has gotten better than Matty Nyes for the Gophers, Maple Leafs draft pick. That dude's an absolute stud. And then there's a ton of guys on the Michigan program. Adam Fantilli, who's expected to be the number 2 overall pick. It's been a long time. I feel like this goes back to like the McDavid Eichel draft where we were like, okay, we've got a clear cut 1 and 2, but that guy who's number 2, it's like had he been in any other draft, he'd be going number 1. And I feel like that's what we have here with Bedard and Fantilli. So definitely keep your eye on him.
Great analysis there. Love that.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll definitely be watching. Excited. College hockey is always a good time. And they have great uniforms, and Nike does some of them. So just go figure,
Yeah.
But I'm not mad about it. It's fun.
No, not at all.
Mac or Nick, any final notes before we wrap up?
Don't think so. Yeah, Apple is a good home to live in.
God damn it.
All right, everybody. Well, we appreciate the love and support as always. The playoffs are slowly approaching. We got about 3 weeks, and then it is go time. We're going to be, I don't even know what I was going to say. We're going twice a week. That's what I meant to say. So that'll be fun.
That.
All right. Take it easy, everybody. And without further ado,
class dismissed.